I'm Matthew Maloney, the director of Loon, and it's time to get your geek on.
I'm Bo Brown. I'm the puppetry programmer for the Atlanta Film Festival, and I am also the community coordinator here at the Center for Puppetry Arts. We're here in the Worlds of Puppetry Museum, our brand new museum that opened in November. This is the Jim Henson collection. So we've got puppets from The Dark Crystal, Fraggle Rock, all of Jim's movies. The Muppets are right over there. Kermit's are right over there. So tonight we're really excited because tonight is the puppetry short screening here at the center. I've been the puppetry programmer for a couple of years now, along with my assistant curator Elizabeth Leary, and we're really excited to be partnering with the center this year to actually be featuring the puppetry shorts here at the Center for Puppetry Arts.
For me, it is a lot like playing with toys, right? I mean, we're just doing it really slowly. Sometimes one frame at a time, and other times with a bunch of rods to control it. But there's something about I love the whole process. I think building the puppets is really great. You really feel like you're just goofing off, and to have a film at the end of it or have a performance at the end of it, it's almost just like icing on this amazing puppet cake. I go to Hong Kong regularly. I love Hong Kong, and I usually stay in Kowloon. And the idea was to do a film that was just about the experience of being in that environment, not so much a traditional narrative with a beginning, a middle, and an end, but just to go out with a 12-inch puppet and a camera inside of this shark cage where we could just set it up in the middle of traffic and try to just see what happens, right? Just to shoot it in that space and see if we can come up with some kind of document of what it was like to be in Kowloon, which is the most densely populated place in the world. And so it was really an experiment, something really kind of process-driven, just about trying to transpose the experience of being there. And using the puppet, just like someone said, you can project yourself onto the puppet really easily, right? So the idea was the puppet would be sort of an agent for being in that space. And at the end of shooting, then it was the question of, can we edit together something that resembles the story of that experience? And we kind of noticed there were quiet parts and loud parts and busy parts and kind of cerebral parts, and the editing just sort of took care of itself from there. I don't know if I'm answering your question at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I'm Matthew Maloney, and I'm the director of Loon.
I'm Christina Maloney, and I did the title sequence and some post-production on Loon.
This is Poe, and he's a little 12-inch monk, and Loon is about Poe's search for peace in this crazy, busy environment of Hong Kong and Kowloon. The story really is watching Hong Kong develop, watching it begin with just a cluster of rocks and sand, and then turn into this massive electronic pinball machine that it is today. And the film really begins with Poe just relaxing in a tree on the beach. And by the time it's over, he's completely enveloped in circuitry and neon and people and traffic and buildings. Filming was intense. I mean, we're in the middle of the street, we're in the middle of these crowded sidewalks, and we fabricated a metal cage to protect the capture system and the camera.
We were pretty far apart. In some instances, when you see him sort of grasping the pole and you see his eyes light up, we were very far apart from him from that, and you would run out into the street, move him a little bit, and I would stand across the street and explain, okay, you have 7 more seconds to get this shot off and go, and we were kind of having a dialogue like that.
And if you're wondering, do Hong Kong taxis slow down for a bald idiot carrying a doll through an intersection? Let me tell you, they don't slow down. So it was a real challenge. I would pick a landmark or a street sign, and I knew if I was standing by that landmark, I would be out of the frame. So I would have 5 seconds or 7 seconds to run, do my movement on the puppet, and then get out of the shot as quickly as possible.
One of the amazing things was children. They would see, they usually were able to catch on a little sooner than their parents what exactly was going on, and maybe it was because they were lower to the ground, but they could see where our eye line was, and because we had this cage, we could almost show them back in real time because we couldn't speak the language, so the dialogue between people, we were kind of having to point and show things, and then sometimes we would show them in real time a few of the frames we captured, And it was that sort of aha moment where they could understand what we were doing.
And we could watch those aha moments playing out. So the store owners would all be kind of peering at us in the street a little suspiciously, and then we would see someone gesturing and explaining the time-lapse concept to them.
Right.
And then before we knew it, they would be out there with some tea, just sort of unable to communicate with us except for this very basic human way of just sort of smiling and gesturing to the puppet and giving a thumbs up and handing us a bottle of tea. I learned about how I deal with the outside world, right? I think as the character in the film would sort of retreat into this internal life and kind of come to terms with how busy everything was towards the end of the film, I think that we were kind of looking at it together and realizing that this is actually how I look at things. This is really a film about what it's like to be me in this space. So in that respect, we couldn't really separate, I guess, I couldn't separate me from the place.
This was the first time we collaborated like this, and Matt is in his element manipulating this puppet, and he made it look so easy, and I realized that that was fairly skillful what you were doing. He moved so natural, you knew exactly how he was going to behave, and we were doing it in the chaos of that city. So that was pretty amazing to witness.
And I learned a lot about myself. I set out to make a film about a place, and at the end of this great experiment, I really realized I was making a film about me. And I think that's really my biggest takeaway from the production. They can find us at angryanimation.com, angry-animation.com, and Loon's on Facebook at Loon Animation.
And I should say also on Angry Animation, we documented the entire process, which was a really interesting read, so you can see how we navigated through Kowloon.